for Pablo Escobosa. Whew, okay. Hey, man. Hey, Sam. What's going on, bud? What's going on, Brad? How are y'all doing? We all feel good? We all feel normal in here? We all feel good? Okay. All right. Opening up the book. Just gonna do some bits. Gonna do some stuff. We all feel good in here, right? Okay. This room feels like if a little boy dressed in Roman armor came out and just stabbed me in the heart. Like, this is the only space on campus where you all would be like, based on this Coliseum seating, that feels like that should happen in here. Man, someone get him help. He's bleeding out on the ground. A little boy stabbed him in the heart. Yikes. Okay. I'm gonna start in a second, I swear, but it's just, I'm getting a little warm. I didn't open my water before I came out here. Might do that, might not. I have no idea. While I'm thinking about it, I do want to talk to you guys. I just got a new apartment. I'm actually renting a house. I've never rented a house before. Maybe some of you have. It's a very daunting experience when you rent a house. I live in East Boston, if anybody's out there, and it is terrifying. Not for any real reason. It's only because of this man who lives next door to me. East Boston's one of those interesting places where it has a lot of people have moved there over time. In the 90s, a lot of Hispanic families moved there. But before that, it was just OG Boston people. And this man who lives next door to us is of that ilk. He's this sort of like large, burly gentleman with this sort of chaotic beard. And he has around 20 to 85 cats that live in his backyard. And they're all gray. They look like water monitors almost. They're low to the ground and they just sort of like stick their tongues out to smell the air. And once a day he takes a water buffalo shank and just throws it into his backyard. We're all terrified. And so we'll see this man sometimes. There's a gate between our yard and his, and he'll just show up in our yard and he'll spray the shed with a mystery fluid. You can use your imagination as to what he's exactly doing. All I know is that most Sundays I wake up to a man in my yard. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get emotional. Fuck this water bottle. No, I mean, I like living in East Boston. We have a horrible skunk problem. That is really true. If anybody's connected with the governor, it's bad. I walk home most days late at night just going, I'm here in the middle of the road. Don't spray me. Like, literally like an asshole. If that man next door to me wanted to kill me, all he'd have to do is send a little boy to come and stab me in the heart. It's literally bad. I announce my presence every time I'm home. It's awful. I don't know. Most of us, I think, are in college. Maybe some of us aren't. But I feel like right now, I feel like I'm spending so much time just trying to figure myself out. This apartment thing has been kind of one of those where I'm trying to figure myself out. There are certain things that I've learned over the past like 3 years or so that are very real. I have a problem with forms. I figured this out recently. I have a problem with forms. If I'm in like a doctor's office, I'll fill the form out and have it say that I'm 5'3" and platinum blonde. And then when the doctor comes in, I'm literally just like, I don't know what's happening. And then I just run in tears out through the lobby. Like, I can't do it. Like, I don't want to be on the record. You know what I mean? Like, I have that just enough where forms bother me, but doing a comedy show doesn't seem to bother me in the slightest. I don't know what it is. There are other things, too, where, like, I've figured out that there are certain things that I'm not going to learn. Like IBM. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Do you ever have that thing where you go to a friend's house and it's like a weird friend that you don't really know and you walk into their house and you go like, this kitchen is the size of my house. Like their home is just too big and when you start to ask questions about it, somebody just shows up to be like, oh yeah, they worked for IBM in the 80s and just sort of... Like, as if that's ever an answer at all. Just to be like, yeah, no, 3 letters and money. Is it phones? Is it phones? Can I ask that? Is it phones? I don't want to know. I don't want to know if it's phones. I don't want to know if it's phones. No, I don't know if you guys can tell based on my cadence or general appearance, but I'm pretty sure that I'm supposed to be a bumpkin. Oh my God. I really am. I'm pretty sure that I wasn't supposed to make it, you know? I'm from a really small town in Maryland. There's some of these are in New Jersey too. Just one of those like black hole towns, you know? You know when you hear about somebody disappearing? They're just gone. They're in my town. That's like the kind of, we lived right on the Chesapeake Bay. It was all swampy. You'd see people like dark figures during sunset just sort of stomping through the marshes. And we'd all just kind of be like, that's human behavior. Like, that's normal activities. And it's weird. All of my friends from home, I've known since preschool. I grew up with all of them. We were in Miss Zimmerman's preschool class. We were all together. There was 8 of us. And we were all straight dudes. And we were, I don't think they'll mind me saying this, but we were in love with each other. I mean, we really are. I mean, like when I go home, I see them. They're my 7 best friends, and we're all just these horribly, horribly straight guys. And we would play games. We started coming up with games because we were insane. And one of those games was called There's a Cat in the Bed. And the way Cat in the Bed is played is we would go over to my friend Caleb's house, and we would open up his pull-out couch, and we would turn the lights off, and then we would run around on the pull-out couch and try and find each other. No sight, just your hands and knowing the body shapes of your friends. That's all it was for hours. We called our group the Cats in the Bed. People called us the Cats. We had a den. We had like group chats. It was bad. Conversely, we had another game. They're gonna bleep this. It's gonna be bad. But we had a game called Bumfuck to the Rim 2K13. And this game was basically full contact pool basketball. That was the whole thing. We just get in a pool, and at a certain point, Scott Toms would have to go to the hospital because I would have knocked one of his teeth out. That's the only way, and that really is one of those crazy things where you're, like, that is the confines of masculinity. You can't tell your friends that you care about them. The most you can do is try and knock one of their teeth out. That's the peak, you know what I mean, in that situation. It's bad. But that's what passes for fun in my weird little swampy town. I don't mean to double back on myself, but there was a dad in my home recently, and I feel like I have to talk about it. Do you ever have that? Where there's just a dad in your home? Do you know what I'm talking about? It adds a second layer to your perception of reality. All of a sudden, there's like a vortex somewhere inside of your home. Someone else's dad is there, and you can just feel yourself kind of being like, oh no, I'm getting pulled in to this dad in my home. And this particular dad really wanted to smoke weed with us. I don't know if you guys have smoked weed with your dads. Maybe some of you have. I don't know. My dad is a 6'7" doctor from the Dominican Republic who doesn't believe in using baskets at the grocery store, so he carries everything like an asshole. It's crazy. I don't want to smoke weed with that guy at all. The whole time he'd just be like, I don't need one. I don't need a cart. And I'm like, what's happening? It's a nightmare. I'm gonna wrap up here in just a second. This last thing, it's really not even comedy. Show of hands, does anyone have, this is gonna be a little weird. Show of hands, does anyone have a vegan child at home? Anyone have a vegan child? Anybody have a vegan child at their house? No? Okay. Well, maybe, I thought there would be a lot more 40 to 50-year-old parents in the audience. Maybe if you're planning on having a vegan child, these will be some tips. Basically what I did was I compiled a list of the ways in which I think vegan children could die. And these are just sort of like, you know, prohibitory, whatever, just something to look out for. If you have a vegan child, these are probably the ways they'll die. I just keep an eye out. They're an interesting band of children. So I'm gonna run down this list. Just, you know, if you need to take notes or if you want me to stop at a certain point, just yell out. I can do that. It's no problem, okay? All right, so we're gonna go through this list. All right, number one. Okay, number one. Biodiesel explosion. You're pulling around behind a McDonald's, you drop a match, the whole thing goes up, yada, yada, yada. It's not good. It's hard to explain. Number 2, strangled to death by a big old beard. A vegan child is probably per day around at least 6 or 7 beards, and they are all as dangerous as the last one. So please keep your eyes out, all right? Number 3, murdered. And this really applies. This applies to anyone. Look, any of us could be murdered today. Probably not, I don't think so, but it's real. Okay, number 4. Tackled by acai activists. Those people are passionate and they're fast, all right? So they stay low, so you gotta stay looking down. Now, this one is just poisoned by ostrich. And I understand it's a little confusing. It's taken in 2 ways. Number 1, your kid's getting a little wild. They want to experiment and they try some ostrich meat. But it's bad ostrich meat and they die. That's 1. Number 2 is that your child has somehow wronged an ostrich. And you walk back into a room and see an ostrich wearing sunglasses, pouring a pink liquid into your son's chamomile tea, and a smoke cloud shaped like a skull and crossbones comes out of it. Red flag. This is a red flag. Let's see. Dreamcatcher tattoo infection. That one's really straightforward. This one just says crushed by the mosh. Probably like a Frankie Cosmos concert or like Courtney Barnett. Just something where no one should be moshing. It just seems like the most likely way a kid could go. Hit by a grown man on a Razor scooter. This should be a grown person on a Razor scooter. Suddenly that's okay to have a Razor scooter. It's socially acceptable for us all to like zoom around like we're not 8. It's bullshit. Okay. Let's see. Fear of failure? Yeah. It's real. It's real. Culture shock, like if your vegan child meets like a meat scientist or something. I don't know. He just meets someone who's not like him, and he freaks out. Being caught in a web of lies. Being caught in a web of lies created by their non-friend, Pulse. Being caught while the chips are down. Being caught while the chips are down because their non-friend Pulse put the chips down there, and their non-friend Pulse is an asshole. And I realize that this list goes a little off the rails, but trust me, it's coming back home. The last thing written on it is just the word skulls. Thank you guys so much for listening to all that, listening to me. Enjoy the rest of your comedians here.